Hi, welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. Thank you so much. I'm Cindy, and I have so much that I want to share with you. So let's get crafting. Okay, so for this project, I'm going to use this Dollar Tree sign, and I'm going to use this stencil from Couture, and I'm going to actually be working on the back side of my sign. So I'm going to paint that with Waverly chalk paint and ink. Give it a nice coat, and once that's dry, I'll be covering it with some surface wax so that my stencil will work well on it. And for the stencil, I'm going to be using some red chalk paste and some shimmer chalk paste. And on the back side, so it looks finished, I'm going to take some craft paper and just cover it up, and then that way it'll give it a nice finished look. But I want to paint it first. So, okay, we painted it. It's all done and dried with the ink, and then I put the surface wax on it, so that's all set. And then after it was on for about 15-20 minutes, I buffed it, and there we put the craft paper on the back so that we don't see, so it looks nice and finished. And I just used hot glue around the edges to put that down, and then I just took my craft knife and cut around the edge to get rid of all the excess paper. So now we are going to take our reindeer parking stencil off of its backing. And I have no nails, guys, so this is a little difficult for me, but I get through it. All right, so you're going to save that piece because you'll put it back on once the stencil is dry after we use it. And since this is a new stencil, I'm going to fuzz it a few times. So basically what you're doing is you're just taking some of the tack away from the back of the stencil. And these stencils can be reused, you know, up to 10 times or more maybe, depending on, you know, how gently you use them. And I love it. It's great. I love Couture. You get such good results in such a quick amount of time. All right, I'm going to check and see if I've taken enough of the tack off. And yeah, it looks like I did. So now I'm going to center it in onto my board. I don't think I got it quite centered, but I want to keep it down a little from the top because I want to put a little embellishment there. So let's just, yeah, see right there. So we'll get this centered up. Is it quite centered? No. There we go. Maybe. All right. So now I'm just going to burnish it down so there's no air bubbles or anything in it, so that way when we apply the chalk paste, it won't bleed underneath the stencil. No, I didn't like it. Okay, let's move it one more time. All right, and get it there. And I think I got it lined up on the bottom now, so at least I know it'll be straight. Okay. And we'll just burnish it down again so that there's no seeping underneath the stencil. There we go. Make sure there's no air bubbles. There, I think I like that. Now I'm going to do the top and the bottom in the red, and then I am going to do the middle part in the shimmer paste, which is really kind of like a white. And it's got some really sparkly, shimmery stuff in it. And when it reflects in the light, it's really pretty. It may not show up here real well. But as you can see, I haven't used these yet. So I kind of have to take off the top. And again, I have no nails. And there we go. Get that. And I can throw that piece away. Set that down. And I might as well open the shimmer paste too, because I know I haven't used this one yet either. So we'll get that open and get that out of the way. Except I don't know if you can see the shimmer on it or not. I like it. There's quite a bit of paste on this lid, so I'm not going to let that go to waste. So we'll do the white first. And I'm going to take the little spatula, the little stir stick, and I'm just going to use it to take the chalk off of the lid and put it onto my stencil. And that's all we're doing here, guys. This is so simple. I love the look you get with the Couture stuff. And have I mentioned I am a Couture designer? So if you're interested in becoming a designer, you can follow my link tree below. And if you're not, if you just want to do some chalk couture, you can also follow my link tree and it'll tell you how to purchase some of your own items. All right, so I'm just going to add a little bit more of the chalk. You know, if we use too much, we can always put it back in the jar. So better have too much than not enough. All right, now I want to stay away from the edges, and I also want to stay away from the parts that I'm going to be doing in the red. So I'm just being very careful to just chalk in the area that I want white. And all I'm doing is using my mini squeegee here, or this might be the little squeegee. And even though it's not so little, there we go. And now I've got everything covered, but there's a lot of excess chalk on there. So I'm just going to use my squeegee to get rid of all the excess chalk paste. And I'll just put that right back in my container. You know, waste not, want not. So just scrape it right off into the container there. And that looks good to me. So we'll cover it up. And we're going to move on to the red. I love this red. It's so bright and vibrant. And I'm just going to add a little bit of the red to the top and to the bottom. Just like that. I might need a little bit more, but we'll play it by ear, see how it goes. Set that there and use a different squeegee because I don't want to use the same one I just used. This one's a mini. And I'm just going to stay away from the white area and just make sure that all of the red gets filled in, and then any of the excess chalk that, yep, see, I do need a little bit more right there. So put some more on and then squeegee off the excess. There we go. It looks pretty good. It's still a little bit of a learning curve for me. I'm trying to get used to it. This is only, I don't know, like my 5th or 6th project, so it's not a lot of them, but I'm really enjoying it. If you don't want to purchase a lot of Chalk Couture stuff, there's also a thing called the Chalk Club, and what you do is you get a stencil, and actually this was the stencil for November. This reindeer parking one was the stencil of the month, and it came with a couple colors and a squeegee so that you could do it yourself. And if you don't have a fuzzing cloth, you could just use a nice terry cloth towel, and that will work too. There we go. All right, so I got all the excess red off. Set this stuff aside. Get all the excess in there. We'll cover it back up, and then we're going to do the fun part, the reveal, and see how everything looks. Here we go, guys. We'll lift up our stencil, and you're going to do it slowly so everything lifts up nice and cleanly. And there we go. Wow. I'm going to wash my stencil, and I'll be right back. So today's video is part of the Crafting for a Cause challenge and is hosted by Theresa B. DIY, and her co-host this month is Crafted by Corie, and Corie has chosen Morgan's Light as the charity for this month. And Theresa will donate all of her proceeds from her video to Morgan's Light for this month. So make sure that you check out Theresa's video after you've watched mine, and make sure you don't fast forward through any of the ads because we want to raise as much money as we can for Morgan's Light. You're also going to want to check the playlist for all of the other wonderful crafters that are joining in this challenge. There'll be links to Theresa's channel, Corie's channel, and the playlist in the description box below. So make sure that you watch all of the talented crafters. Okay, now that my sign is done, all I did was take some Dollar Tree ribbon that had the red, the black, and the white on it, made a simple bow, and hot glued it to the top. Now this is the piece of jute that came with the sign, and it had these nice little ends on it. I really like how they did it. It was easy to take off and easy for me to put back on, and that's all I'm going to do is put it back on so I'll have something to hang it with. You can just push these little plastic pieces through. This one's giving me a little issue, but that's okay. We'll get it through. There we go. Got it. And then you can see on the back, you just have to turn them so that they're not showing, just like that. And your sign has a hanger. That was easy. Didn't even have to get another piece of jute. Okay, so for this project, I'm using this chalkboard that I got at the Dollar General. I think I paid like $3 for it. Some picks that I got at Walmart, and I paid 97 cents or something like that for them. And I'm going to use the Couture Snuggle Weather stencil, and I'm going to put that on with some shimmer paste, just like the last project. And basically what I'm going to do is, when I put the stencil on, I don't want to center it. I want to keep it off to the right and down towards the bottom. So again, I'm just fuzzing the back of it 3 or 4 times just to make sure that it's not tacky and it doesn't stick to my surface. And if I wanted to, I could actually have put some surface wax on it, but I didn't, because this is going to be just a permanent project for me. So there we go. Now we're going to put this towards the bottom here. I'm not sure exactly where I want it, because yeah, I want to put the greenery up in that corner. So it's still a little tacky, so I'm going to fuzz it again. Make sure that it doesn't stick and then ruin my whole project. There we go. I'm sure there'd be a way to fix it. All I'd have to do is wash off the chalkboard and start again. That's what the nice thing about Chalk Couture, you know, it's called, it's very reusable. You can use the stencils over and over again, and you can use most of the surfaces over. You can just wash them off and start over. Okay, so there we go. Put our Snuggle Weather down. Make sure there's no air bubbles. Make sure that nothing is going to leak through. And again, we're going to use our chalk paste in the color Shimmer, so I can just use the same little spatula that I did before. And just put some all over my stencil, just like that. And if I put too much down, it's not a big deal, because we'll just squeegee it off and put it back in the jar. So I'm just going to make sure that the chalk gets all over the stencil and all through it. And I think that looks pretty good. Did I miss any spots? I don't think so. So let's take the excess and put it back in the jar for another time. And if your chalk dries out, you can always add a little distilled water to it to reuse it, to reconstitute it, which I think is wonderful. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, don't want to waste any of it. Get it all back in there. Okay. Now here's the fun part, guys. Here's the reveal. So we're just going to get under that. I need a third hand, I think, to hold the chalkboard down while I take this off, but I think I'll get through it and just kind of use my bottom of my hand to hold it down. I could have probably did one more fuzzing on this, because it still was quite tacky, but it worked out great. I really like it. I think that looks pretty darn good. It's Snuggle Weather, and I'm up in Maine, and I know what Snuggle Weather is all about. All right, there we go. I'm going to go wash the transfer, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so I used these chalk erasers. They come in a 2-pack from Chalk Couture, and it takes the excess chalk off, and it looks like you didn't even use it. You just run it under some cold water and use the sponge. Now, we're going to add all our little greenery to the corner of our sign here. So I am just going to cut these picks apart real quick. No sense in sitting here watching me cut picks apart, so we're going to speed it up a little bit through here and get those picks cut apart. I love how easy this whole process is. And, you know, you can do whatever color you wanted. If you didn't want to do this in white, I could have done it in blue and something like that. So I'm just trimming down the back side of the pick so that way it lays nice and flat, because it's not, I want it to sit on the sign. So put one there, and we're going to put one on the other side. And that looks kind of nice. I think that looks good. So we're going to put 2 at the top and then 2 down the side. And then we're going to add some more of our berries. We'll put some berries in there. And both sides, just like that. Kind of whatever you do on one side, you want to do on the other so it looks good. Put a little bit of these other leaves in there. You know, you just do these crafts until they look good to you. I'm doing mine so it looks good to me, and if you think it's, of something different you'd like to add or do, go for it. It's your craft, right? So one thing at a time, and just keep adding until you think it looks good. And I think that looks pretty good, and I'm just going to put 3 little pine cones, I think, right here in the middle to finish it off. And once those are in, we are done with this project. Okay, so for the last project of today, I'm using one of these cubes from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use 4 of the little snowflakes from this big transfer. And again, we're going to be using our shimmer paste, some surface wax. I'm going to be painting the cube in Ocean Waverly chalk paint. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that ribbon or not, but we'll find out. And then just some more of that pick that I'd cut apart earlier. All right, so I have painted my cube, and I waxed the 4 surfaces that I'm going to be using, and I'm just going to distress it a little bit with some of the Waverly chalk paint in white. So I'm just going to dip my brush in, and I'm going to get most of it off, and I'm really just touching the edges here, just like that. That's it. I'm going to touch all the edges all the way around, all the sides, and just give it a light coat of paint. So we're not going crazy. Just enough to kind of give it some definition. And I think that's the best way to, I think that's going to look the best, in my opinion. I could be wrong. You could leave this step off if you were doing this project. You could distress it even more. Depends on what you want to see in your final craft. That's what crafting is so much fun, is you just can, do it until you like it, until it looks good. And if it doesn't look good to you, then, you start over, paint over it, and do it again. There you go. I think I covered everything. Yeah, I did. All right. So there we go. Now we can put our stencils on. So, oh, I got to wax it. I didn't wax it. That's right. So let me wax it first, and then we'll do our stencils. All right. Now we're all waxed. There we go. Nice and burnished. And I only did the 4 sides that I'm going to be putting these stencils on. I didn't do the top or the bottom, because the bottom will be the bottom, and the top's going to have some of that greenery on it. And what's really nice about these Chalk Couture stencils is that, some of them are full size, but you don't need to use the whole full size of it. And some of them they make in little pieces, and they give you these nice little lines to cut on. So I'm just using my scissors there to cut them apart. And I am going to put 1 of each of these snowflakes on all 4 of the sides around the cube. And you know me, I am trying to get the stencil off. There we go. All right, so fuzz away a couple of times. And once you wash your transfer, you can put it right. You're going to put it right back on the shiny side of that paper, and use and store it for another use. So now I'm going to try to center this onto my cube, and then just make sure that it's burnished down so we get no bleeding. And here we go again with our shimmer paste. I love the shimmer paste. And just put a little bit on there, and then take a nice clean squeegee and make sure that it's all covered, just like that. And then take off any excess and back in the jar. It's just the same again. There we go. So I've got one done. I'm just going to spray it with a little water because I'm not going to be washing it right away. And I just want to make sure that it doesn't dry in the chalk doesn't dry in the stencil. And I'm going to do one more here for you. If I can get this stencil apart. I got to grow my nails out, I think. All right, there we go. We got it. All right, again, give it a couple good fuzzings, and then put it on and try to center it as best we can onto our cube. There we are. Center that and burnish it down. Perfect. And here we go. Basically just going to do the same thing. Add our chalk paste, squeegee it down, and take off any excess. I like it. All right, so as I'm sitting here thinking about this, I'm going to be able to do two of the sides like this, and then I'm going to have to let those two sides probably dry a little bit before I can do the other two sides. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do, guys. Let me see. Get that excess off. And yep, there we go. So put that down and spray it so it doesn't dry out. And let's see. Yeah, I'm going to have to wait until those two sides are dried so I can do the other sides. So I am going to let those two sides dry, and then I'll come back and I'll have the other two sides done. There. So now all four sides are done and they are dried. And they came out really cute. I think it's adorable. Not bad, huh? All right, now to decorate and finish off this project, I'm just going to be using some more of the pick that I had taken apart. And I cut those way down so that they'll fit nicely on top of my cube, just like that. So I will hot glue first those two little evergreen pieces using my SUREBONDER hot glue. I love my SUREBONDER. Stick with the best. Stick with SUREBONDER. So there we go. We got to hold that there for a second. It doesn't take too long to dry, but it does take a bit. So make sure when you're using your hot glue gun that you've got a little bowl of water so you don't burn yourself. My fingers are kind of used to the heat. So I got some more of these leaves. I'm going to put some on either side of our little branches. So put a couple over here where I like them. Maybe I'll put a third one here. Do I put a third one on the side? Yeah, I put a third one on the side. I like that. I kind of like trying to do multiples of 3 or 5 when you're doing flower arranging. It's just something that I picked up from a flower arranging course I took years ago. And we're going to add a couple more of those right there. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with this yet, so I'm kind of playing it by ear, guys. Just put it in until it looks great. Yeah, I think I'm only going to do 2 on this side. That way it looks a little off. I did 5, so see, I am doing it. Now I'm going to cut off some of these berries, and I'm going to use some of them right in here. I don't know which ones I like the best. I'll just do the one piece. That'll look good. So I'm going to put some hot glue on that and stick that where I want it. Right in there. There, I think that looks kind of nice. And then I'm going to take a pine cone and put that right in the middle of the top. And that should finish off this project nicely. Here we go. And just hold it right there until it's set. And we have a completed project. Not bad. I think it looks kind of nice. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, let's see what everything looks like together. So here's our final reveal. Our reindeer parking sign, our snuggle weather sign, and our little cute decorative accent of our snowflake cube. I love doing these projects for you guys. I hope you like them too. Let me know in the comments which one you like the best. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I would really appreciate you doing so. And click that bell icon so you can be notified when I upload more videos. And don't forget, check out the playlist that is linked down in the description box, because we are crafting for a cause this month, and this month's cause is Morgan's Light. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. And remember, live fully, love deeply, learn something new every day. Bye. Thanks for watching.